The United Nations Security Council has adopted its first ever resolution to tackle the problem of alleged sexual abuse by peacekeepers. Last year, there were 69 reported cases involving 10 different peacekeepers missions. CCTV's Nick Harper reports from the United Nations in New York.
This resolution passed hasn't been easy. It was a US-led initiative aimed at holding not just peacekeepers, but the country they come from accountable for sexual abuse. The proposal to send home entire peacekeeping units was met with strong opposition. Russia and Egypt in particular were against the idea. They were worried it would unnecessarily shame whole countries for the actions of a few peacekeepers. They objected to the recommendation that if a country fails to investigate allegations, or if it fails to hold perpetrators accountable, all of its troops serving in the country where the abuse allegedly took place would be repatriated. Russia and Egypt felt that repatriation was a collective punishment, but the US ambassador to the UN, Samantha Power, stressed that was not the case and passionately defended the proposal, calling the abuse carried out by peacekeepers a cancer.
They see a peacekeeper coming their way, they think, this is someone who's going to help me. They don't think, I got to run, this is somebody who's going to rape me. That's not what they think. That's not what they should ever think, but that is what they are going to think, and that is what some of them do think, because there is not accountability for the crimes that are committed in any way sufficient to the scale of what appears to be this problem.
The vote was scheduled for Thursday, but it was delayed due to objections from Russia and from Egypt. And then on Friday, ahead of the vote, Egypt proposed an amendment. That, though, was voted down, with the US and the UK saying that Egypt's suggestions would have watered down the resolution. Egypt abstained from voting for the US-led resolution. The UN believes this new plan will protect some of the world's most vulnerable women and children and ensure that the peacekeepers who are entrusted to help, not harm, will be held accountable if involved in sexual abuse. Nick Harper, CCTV, New York.
The Security Council resolution comes in the wake of mounting concerns over the apparent spike of allegations of sex abuse made against UN peacekeepers. In a recent report, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon for the first time revealed the nationalities of the troops facing the allegations. Maria Galang has the details.
Yet another damning report of sexual abuses by UN peacekeepers. 69 allegations involved personnel in 10 UN peacekeeping missions, most of them African. Most of the allegations involved peacekeepers from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, 7 in all, serving in the Central African Republic. There were also allegations against troops and police from Burundi, Germany, Ghana, Senegal, Madagascar, Rwanda, Congo Republic, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Tanzania, Slovakia, Niger, Moldova, Togo, South Africa, Morocco, Benin, Nigeria and Gabon. In addition to the CAR, the allegations involved peacekeeping missions in places like Haiti, Mali, the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Côte d'Ivoire. The report includes recommendations for member states to make it easier to identify suspected perpetrators and prosecute them. One of the problems human rights groups say is that it is currently up to UN troop-contributing countries to prosecute their soldiers accused of abuse. When such prosecutions happen, the groups say, they often take place quietly, and it's difficult to follow up on the results and punishments, if any.
It's hard to imagine the outrage that people working for the United Nations and for the causes of peace and security feel when these kinds of allegations come to light, particularly involving minors, which are so hard to understand. The United Nations is doing everything. The United Nations is doing everything we possibly can to assist the victims, to bring accountability and justice for them, and hopefully to prevent these cases from, or any such cases from recurring.
In December, an independent review panel accused the UN and its agencies of grossly mishandling numerous allegations of child abuse by foreign troops in the CAR in 2013 and 2014. particularly harrowing allegations that French soldiers abused young boys in the Central African Republic. Maria Galang, CCTV.
Now, South Africa is already taking steps to try its troops accused of misconduct in the Democratic Republic of Congo. A mobile South African military court has arrived in the DRC to try 32 South African peacekeepers. According to officials, none of the 32 cases involved alleged sexual abuse. The court consists of a judge, a lawyer, a prosecutor and a clerk. It will hold hearings in the capital, Kinshasa, before returning to South Africa on March 22nd. South Africa has in the past tried its soldiers in Burundi, Congo and South Sudan. The UN peacekeeping mission in Congo is the world's largest, with about 20,000 uniformed personnel. South Africa has contributed more than 1,000 troops and experts. Now, for more on these developments, we're joined by correspondent Angela Kupla. He's live for us in Johannesburg. Angela, do we have any details yet on what charges 32 soldiers are facing?
Well, as is the norm with anything in the military, they're very tight-lipped at the moment because they want to try these 32 members of the South African National Defence Force in a kind of neutral environment. So we don't have any clarity, but as you've made the point, the UN says that none of those 32 cases relate to any kind of sexual abuse, be it with minors or anyone else. But the SANDF hasn't been shy to discipline its troops here in the DR Congo. In October, it fired 47 of its peacekeepers for violating a curfew in the east of the country. So it's showing that they are quite firm on what they're going to do. And the new commander of that UN force is a South African who's an ex-special services commander. And he arrived there at the beginning of January. And so the court, this military mobile court that's in place now, is probably sending a fairly strong message to other nations' military that the commander of this 20,000 strong force isn't going to take any form of ill discipline. Panina?
Well, Angela, the court was started in 2001 to curb impunity. Have any of the cases been conducted? What kind of outcomes do we have so far?
Well, all we do know is that, as you mentioned earlier, Burundi, South Sudan and the Congo have seen the court operating there. There has been some form of success in terms of prosecutions, but getting detail on actual statistics is harder to come by than we expected, and we haven't been able to get any specific information. But speaking to an analyst a little earlier, it's been suggested that it's about expediency here and a fair in-country trial, specifically for the victims so they can get closure. The logistical challenges are obviously quite obvious because you don't want to take the victims of any kind of abuse or any action by those peacekeepers and transport them to the country, like in this case South Africa, to try and resolve. So sentences are quickly shared with local communities, we're told, and it's about justice being seen to be done and allowing the peacekeeping force then to continue with what its actual role is. And that's obviously with the support of those communities, Panina.
All right, Angela Kupla in Johannesburg, thank you for joining us.